Hello my beautiful people, welcome to your weekly general tarot scope with me, Raphael from Radiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. So I just want to say a massive thank you so much to all of you for all of your comments, all of your support as I'm going through all of these big changes that I'm putting out in my work and all of the rest of it. It really does mean a lot to me that you guys are backing me 100%. For those of you that have commented that you're staying and that you're not going anywhere, you know Rafi loves you. So as always, the weekly general is informed by the intuitive message. So every week I'll go into my intuition and I will ask for an intuitive message. When said message comes through, it kind of flavors the reading. And as many of you know, if you've been with me long enough, this reading, the weekly general reading came about because of you guys. So we kind of co-created this together, which is like the best way to do anything, isn't it? Now, that being said, before we start, as always, I would like to bless my decks of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity and abundance. And I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise and they help us all on our paths to our highest vibrational good. So this week's weekly message from my intuition, and this one came really quick. Like as soon as I closed my eyes, I allowed that moment to settle in, opened up the internal space, and just literally it came straight down. And what actually came down, the image that I saw in my mind was, like those, the machines, where you play it and you have to move the thingy, and it was like this hand just came down and it kind of plucked, that's what I saw. And the message that I took from that was that you were selected is the call, right? So if you've been waiting for a message, if you've been waiting for, let's say you've been looking for a job and you got a call back and they're like, oh, you're on the list or whatever. Let's say you have been invited to do something and you're kind of in two minds about it, about, whether this is right for me, whatever the case may be. Well, the message this week literally says the fact that you were selected is the call from the universe. So if you're waiting for something to say like, this is it, this is what you should be doing, this is the way that you might be getting the best out of what you're trying to do, all the rest of it, this is the message. The fact that you have been selected, the fact that you've been invited, the fact that the world has in some way, shape or form opened up for you to pull you in, to invite you in, to give you what you need, or even to give you the go ahead. This is the green light, right? And I'm not even talking about the message that I'm delivering you. The fact that you have been selected, that you've been chosen for something, that you have been called upon for something, that is the call, right? That is the message for you to get going, to get started, to start making things happen. Stop sitting on your hiney and get out there into the world, all right? So whoever needed to hear that, that is for you, and I really hope that that gives you what you need in order to start moving towards the things that really are destined for you. Speaking of destiny, we are going to delve into the cards. So you're going to get a Human Design Oracle deck card for the destiny energy. This is the overarching energy trend or theme for the week. And let's have a look what is going on for all of us. So this week we have, right, the Gate 46 and Serendipity. So I don't know if you've ever heard the saying, there are no accidents, that there are no coincidences. That's what serendipity always reminds me of, right? It's that synchronistic energy. It's actually, the word serendipity literally means discovering something by a happy accident, like a happenstance, right? But for me, this kind of suggests whatever the call is this week, whatever the selection, whatever the choice, whatever the invite, it will come synchronistically. This may actually be that in the course of trying to do something else, or maybe you have a very clear idea of what something looks like or how you should be pursuing a certain goal. This week you discover purely by serendipity or synchronicity, or maybe you get the divine delay, maybe you get the divine reroute. I kind of like to see it as, we're on one path and then the universe kind of gives us a little ting and it reroutes our divine sat nav, right? So this week, don't be surprised if there are divine delays or divine detours, as I like to call them. And don't be surprised if you discover in the process of what you're doing something that is actually better suited for you. there are so many moments that I can look back over on my life path, where it's like I was doing one thing, like the last job that I ever had. So interesting. There's so many little things that I got out of that, including one massive thing that feeds directly into Radiant Reality. And I always believe that I wasn't there for the job. I was there for the people that I was going to meet, for the other things that evolved out of it. And one of them, a happenstance meeting of somebody who literally came in as a temp, was there for like, I think it was no more than 2 weeks. So there was a very narrow window, and I was actually planning to leave that job before this person even arrived. And the fact that this person, we met at like in such a short window of time, sometimes shows that we are, wherever we think we're going, whatever it is that we think we're building, there's often something along the way that is actually more important than the destination we have in our own minds. Okay, so this destiny energy is asking you to be open to the possibilities, to heed whatever selections or calls might come up. Let's say you're selected for jury duty and you think, oh my gosh, like, oh, ball ache, no way, I'm not doing that. Or maybe you're selected to volunteer at one of your kids' sports day, or well, maybe not sports day because it's still kind of winter, right? But you get my drift, right? You're selected for something, you think, oh gosh, no. And then all of a sudden you think, you know what, I'm going to go ahead, and what or who you discover through that process, through that interaction, through that experience, actually becomes so much bigger and feeds directly into what you are trying to do, or brings you something that is way better. All right, so for our direction cards, how do we best utilize this energy? How do we tap into that synchronistic flow? How do we be open to serendipity, right? We've got the Knight of Wands. By jumping into your passions, this week you really are being invited to delve into what you feel passionate about, what you feel emotive about. And also with the Knight of Wands, what do you feel like you're ready to get into bed with, right? Like the plain straight up, right? Straight up. Then you've got the Six of Wands, so you got to get out there, right? This is not a week to sit, as I said, this is not a week to sit on the hiney, but more importantly, this is not a week to spend your time indoors. You got to be out there in the world for things to find you. And then we've got the Six of Swords. So this is definitely a week of travel. This is definitely a week of movement. I would not be surprised, actually. Let me pick a different deck. I would not be surprised, actually, if this week there is an invite of some sort that maybe takes you further afield than you had even planned to go this week. I say that because you've got the Six of Wands, which is a movement card. You've got the Six of Swords, which is a travel card, and you've got this with the Knight of Wands. So on the wider world stage, this is going to be further opening up of travel routes. That's one way we could see this play out. Another way that this might show up is travel by or over water or by sea is going to be very much in the news this week, right? Now, in terms of a more personal level, how do we use this? By getting out into the world, by truly following your actual passions, the things that you really are excited about, being open to your personal success. 2 sixes literally represents balance or irritability. Because of the energy that's present, I'm going with balance. This is about balancing your wands, so your actions and your spirit, your spiritual inspirations, with your swords, your mind, your mental realm, your ideas, your thoughts. So your actions and your thoughts this week are finding symbiosis by you jumping in, by you doing something and being really dynamic. And it's kind of like in the process of you kind of saying, you know what, I'm doing this just because it feels like fun, just because it feels right. And then you make some crazy connection and you're like, oh my gosh, this is mad, right? Like it's, of course it's not, right? It's just our human experience isn't as big as the universal idea or construct or even plan So sometimes it's really hard to fathom. Like even now, I've been doing this work how many years now? And even I still say, that's crazy or that's mad. And it's like, it's totally not. It's, you know, that's the universe. So our insight cards, how do we see round corners? We've got the Justice card. Really, this is a week to commit. All right, this is a week to be very clear on what you're committing to. If you're signing on the dotted line this week, maybe there's a contract that shows up for you. You've got this with the Empress. So this is a double hit really of Venusian energy, because the Justice card is Libra. The Empress is Venus, so this is a double hit of Venusian energy. This is commitment to excellence, right? Commitment, the Justice card, excellence, the Empress. While it's not about excellence in the lineal sense, right? It is about excellence in terms of pure beauty. So this is a week to commit to being the best, or to commit to having the best that you possibly can, or certainly providing the best that you can, whether this is in a job, whether this is for your business, whether this is for even your personal image and aesthetic. This is a week for you to really think about, what am I presenting to the world and how is that going to speak of and for me? Some of you could be forging contracts this week with important women or connections with the feminine realm. And then we've got the World card, right? So big cards this week, big cards for the insight. So what this tells me is, on the wider world stage, we are going to see some kind of diplomatic talks. I wonder if this is, you know, the situation that's going on in a certain area of Europe. The reason I say that is because the Justice card, obviously this is the balancing scales. We've got the Empress, which is Venus, which brings like this harmonious element in. And then we've got the World card. So this is some kind of diplomatic moment that happens for the world that is good news for everybody. This is something that everybody's going to be happy to hear. Now, on a personal level, how do we see round corners? What do we perceive or postulate that might be around the corner, might be showing up for us? Well, the World card, it really is about how you step onto or into a new era of self, right? The decks have already been cleared because it's not the Judgment card. So the change has already been implemented, but this is where we go to a next level. And with that Empress card, this I really feel is going to be a solid commitment, not only to excellence, but also to beauty in some way, shape or form. And then finally, because the World card tends to be older people, this may also be that an older woman that is in the public eye is either called into question in a legal sense, very, very, very possible, or a woman in the public eye is maybe cleared of some kind of charge or issue or challenge that may be going on. Yeah, I think that's as much as I will say on that regard. All in all, this looks like a really great week. It's a week of forward momentum. We've still got all planets direct, so we're in that good space right now. This is going to be a very fast, very dynamic week, and it's a week where if you are open to the changes that could possibly show up, the divine delays, the divine detours, the divine interventions and assistances, this can be a really great week if you allow yourself, like for those of you that have ever seen the Legend of Korra. I'm a big Avatar fan. Yes, I loved the Avatar films, but Avatar: The Last Airbender and Korra, the Legend of Korra, the girl Avatar, in there's a moment where, you know, she's doing some of her training and they take a leaf, and there's all these spinning doors, kind of like like the mirror maze that you have to go through, but it's made of revolving doors, and they spin, and they basically say to her, in order to get from one side to the other, you got to be like the leaf, right? You just got to allow yourself to go with whatever it is that's showing up at this moment in time. This is that week, right? If there were ever a time to just, look, I got goosebumps. If there were ever a time for you to just be the leaf, to allow yourself to be put wherever it is that you feel like you're being drawn or pulled, or wherever it is that you are called to, this week something truly spectacular can open up for you. I really like this as well. Like, if it doesn't show up as something big, it shows up as an energy of ease. And I am so here for that. I think everybody is at this point. All right. With that said, I wish you all an abundance of all of that good stuff. I send you so many love, so many love, so much, so much love, and so many blessings. Have a fantastic weekend. Take care, and I will see you soon.